if it's a negative situation, you're not going to change those people's ideals and memories of you. You're not going to change the choices they've made in the way that they see you or perceive you, is a better language. So that's what we call a losing battle. Like, there's no reason to go back and try to convince your friends, your enemies, your parents, anybody that, oh no, it didn't happen. And the reason for that is, give them about 5 or 10 years from now, and let's say you're successful at some other activity, then they will reevaluate, okay, or not. But unless you're presenting them with an entirely different persona, then it ain't going to happen. And that's why we say that you have to be able to change your belief system, all the things that got you to where you are today. Dark night of the soul. So you abandon that idea that you're going to change them. It's a losing battle. You can spend your life trying to prove your innocence, or you can spend your life being successful. Okay. And the problem becomes is that I don't care who you are, you've done something, or we're going to make something up. This is our beloved CIA again. If people want advice, three simple rules are: I didn't do it, I wasn't there, and I don't remember. And if you remember all those three things, CIA teaches them, you will never be convicted. You can't be convicted. How about we can name a president that said, I did not. And then when they pursued it, I don't remember. You were in the Oval Office, I wasn't there. So all the way through, what he's doing is creating doubt. Once somebody has created doubt about you, oh, that person's kind of sketchy. Okay. Anybody who's been trained to kill is kind of sketchy, right? They don't really need a reason, but their primary reason is they're afraid of you. And once people go into a fear state, you can read State of Fear by Michael Crichton. There's explanations for that. Once people go into a fear state, you can't convince them. You cannot, because they have come into a state where their own future is at risk if they stay around you. Okay, so what do we call that? PTSD on this side. On that side, it's just basically a state of fear comes into being. Whether it's deserved or not is not the answer. It's kind of like you being accused. It's not a question whether you deserve it or not. That's bad thinking. It's like you've been presented a new battle space and you're going to have to work your way through it or not. If you don't work your way through it, if you don't do goal setting, then you're going to be at the mercy of the court, is what we call it. So how do you do that? Number one thing is, like say, you can change your name. You can get an LLC. You can operate as a different persona or a different corporation, which is better in my beliefs. But ultimately, you're going to have to come up with changing who you are. Well, that's what actors and actresses do. You know, John Wayne wasn't his real name. Right? That's very common and very acceptable in one type of career, is that you would do a stage name. We call it public and private space. What's my suggestion is you don't read the comments, right? And especially the negative comments. I can't remember who it is, very funny. I don't read negative comments, right? I don't read any comments at all. I have my assistant read them and tell me, are they bad or not, you know? And that's how they deal with it, is they ignore it. You know, my advice, of course, is that if something bad like that happens, you have to delete all your social media. You can just stop paying attention to it, because number one, it's not improving your life. I find very few people that use social media to improve their life. And at times it might provide some inspiration, like this kind of stories and stuff, but it still requires you to pursue active actions. So you would drop all the social media. If it's necessary, change your name. You definitely have to abandon all your friends, relatives, and everybody else that has formed an opinion, a negative opinion of you. Why? It's not beneficial anymore. And this is not running away. This is to give yourself an opportunity to reassess, redevelop, redeploy yourself with a new skill set. It's like, what's wrong with that? It's the story of most of our action movies. The flawed character that redeems himself. But I'm telling you, you don't need to redeem yourself. You definitely need to reinvent yourself. It's interesting that a lot of the work I do is it falls in the category they tell people of deprogramming. Well, it's to take the energy out of it. All PTSD is a function of memory. And of course, science didn't know what to do with that. But if you take the energy out of the memory, it doesn't bother you anymore. It doesn't create feelings. It doesn't determine your actions for the future. And that's what I would tell people. There's practices of yoga, meditation. There's all kinds of things out there. But now you're going to have to look outside of the hood you grew up in. I promise you. You're going to have to look outside the belief systems you grew up in. Unless they are beneficial in helping you deal with your new situation.